Welcome to Agency for Agents, a podcast for real estate team leaders and independent brokerage owners looking to maximize profits, effectiveness, and gain freedom for their team and business. Your hosts, Christine Andreasen and Aaron Hendon, have been running one of the most successful real estate teams in the Seattle area for more than 8 years. They know building a winning team means finding ways to empower, nurture, train, and develop individual agents to discover their own power, their own agency. On the podcast, Christine and Aaron interview thought leaders in real estate and personal growth to help you impact both your performance and your teams. We know it takes a lot, and leaders and brokers that crack that code reap the rewards of success greater than any they could ever achieve on their own. Welcome to the Abundant Life Podcast. Are you a real estate team leader or independent brokerage owner looking to maximize your profit, effectiveness, and freedom for your team and business? Well, you're going to love the Abundant Life Podcast. We're on a mission to empower real estate agents to create and expand winning teams, empowering the agents in their organizations to win, and in turn, giving them the biggest opportunity to enjoy the benefits of running a successful, growing business. We know every team leader and broker can only win to the extent that their team wins. And building a winning team means finding ways to empower, nurture, train, and develop individual agents while creating a winning culture. We know it takes a lot, and leaders and brokers that crack that code reap the benefits of success greater than they could ever achieve on their own. Your co-hosts, Christine Andreasen and Aaron Hendon, have been running one of the most successful teams in Seattle area for 8 years. Every week, we interview thought leaders, both in real estate and personal growth, to leave you with actionable pathways for you to impact your own and your team's performance, putting you on the right track to maximize your team's effectiveness and your peace of mind, satisfaction, and of course, profits. So, Ryan, really welcome to the show. I'm really excited about the opportunity to work with you and hear what you're doing, both in terms of your managing and leading your own team and the work you do with your social media company and how that fits into the whole thing. So really welcome to the show. And why don't you take a couple minutes and take a couple minutes and just introduce yourself. Tell us where you came from and a little bit of
By the way, we'll do a bio intro. We'll read your bio, do an intro that we could edit in afterwards, but we only have 30 minutes with you, so we want to hear you.
All right, sure. So I'm an entrepreneur by nature. I started my first business when I was in college. I pretty much ran all the clubs and bars in Tampa, Florida, where I went to school at USF. So I got paid to party. It was pretty awesome, but I had a staff of like 30 that was made up of all the leaders of the fraternities and sororities and student organizations. Like the football team ran my security. Like I was literally the Van Wilder of my school.
I love that.
I wish there was a reality TV show because like there was so much drama. There was like competition between like the promoters and the different fraternities, and everybody was hooking up with everybody. I mean, it was a lot of fun, and I was the ringleader of it all. So it was great. And then I opened up a puppy boutique right after I sold that business. And I opened up a bunch of stores all over the country. I franchised it, and I sold that by the time I was 30. So I had like
Wait, what's a puppy boutique? I'm a puppy lover. What's a puppy boutique?
No, I sold like all the boutique items, the doggy clothing, the strollers. We did grooming. It was like, back in like 2005 when
it was like puppy, the beginning of puppy bougie. Yeah.
It was in Boca Raton. It was so bougie. I would walk around the mall and I'm like, oh, I know that stroller. There was like a dog in a stroller. Like I sold that lady that stroller. So
I'm going to flip through all my dog's clothes and see if you gave me any of them, if I bought any from you. Okay, good. So you sold that by the time you were 30.
So I sold that. And then I came to New York City to run an event that was only short term. It was an art installation in Columbus Circle right near Central Park. And the event ended. And they're like, oh, yeah, now you have to run a fair in Orlando, Florida. And this is the first job I've ever had, too. So it wasn't easy actually working for somebody. And I'm like, I don't think so. I'm going to stay in New York City. And I just like stayed in New York City. And for 2 years, I probably had about 8 different jobs. I was just doing all sorts of different things, from like fashion to events to finance, just really trying to find my path before I got into real estate. And then I got into real estate and I literally straight hustled. Like I think with like New York City, like it's very wealthy, it's prestigious. And I really like, I didn't have that Rolodex. Like my parents weren't like handing me their friends' listings. Like I was straight hustling, doing rentals. I did like one sale my first year. I did a couple my second year, but I did a ton of rentals, made a ton of relationships, was really networking like crazy and like learning the inventory. I think that's always really important. Especially in New York City, there's a lot of buildings. So just like getting familiar with like, the different buildings and really specializing in certain neighborhoods. So, fast forward now 8 years into the business, I have a real estate team of 10. We're going to probably do 2 million in GCI. And I think one of the things I'm most proud of that 2 million is that I probably am going to do maybe 60% of that GCI. So it's like I'm actually building a team that's producing a lot of revenue. And that is really something kind of new for me. I feel like I kind of, for the last, like, I would say 5 years, I had a really small team. It was made of my cousin who was under me. And then this guy behind me right over here as my operations manager. And
What's up? What's up? Hey.
And so, we were just...
and you were the one slinging all the real estate.
I was kind of like bringing it in. My cousin was great at like servicing the clients, did a lot of he's a great copywriter. And then during the pandemic, like most people in New York City, he went to Florida. And so I'm like, oh God, like, I can't believe you're leaving me. Like, it was pretty crazy. So I ended up replacing him with 3 agents. And he still had it. He was going back and forth. Like that was his thing. He's like, I'm going to Miami. Everyone's in Miami. I'll network there. I'll bring people back and forth. So his role got replaced with 3 other people. And then he was still doing business in Miami. And then we were just, it all kind of clicked. And I brought on another, like a sales assistant and a marketing manager too. And really my value play and what differentiates me as an agent is I feel like I'm a real marketer. And I think I'm so good at marketing because I'm a content creator. And what is content creation means, like I thinking of ways to create content through social media, through video, through pictures. I'm working with lifestyle photographers, shooting around the city, shooting at my listings. I'm doing videos about, New York City, about food, about fashion, about real estate, about history of New York City. And all that content creation has like really built a following for me on social media. And once you start to have a following on social media, you start to have influence. And, you can really use that influence when you're going on a listing presentation. You can get more eyeballs on what you're trying to sell. I like to call it like new marketing and traditional marketing. Like traditional marketing is like taking pictures, writing good copy, posting it on, I don't know what you guys do, like Zillow or like the main websites, the MLS, and then there's new marketing, which I really excel at, is digital marketing, social media marketing. Every time I create these pieces of content, I'll like cut it up and like use it on all the different platforms that I'm on. Mm-hmm. LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, it's kind of crazy. There's a lot of platforms. I'm on all of them, and I'm reaching people and I'm getting leads through the content that I'm creating.
Awesome.
That's great. Hey, Ryan, I want to break down a couple of things that you said and divide it for a second, because you are brand new, really newly in the position of being a team leader, right? So it was you and your cousin, and now you've got agents that are not related to you, and they're sales agents. They're out there, assuming doing buyers and listings, or just buyers. What's
both.
Good. So and that's a thing that team leaders grapple with is, do I have my new agents do listings or just buyers? A lot of them start with just buyers. Our team, we couldn't reconcile just having them do buyers. We were like, look, you bring on a listing, it's your listing. So we're with you on that. But just talk a little bit about any sort of pitfalls you ran into as you were, these guys are going to do 40% of your business in a year, roughly, right? What was that transition? What were the bumps?
I think you have to let go a little bit. That was really difficult for me because I was somebody who would kind of like want to do all the steps and service a client all the way. And I really had to let go. Like the guy behind me is really my client services. Like I'm like a rainmaker as far as like bringing in the business. But usually like once that contract is signed, either on the buy or sell side, like he kind of takes over the deal. And like I'm moving on to the next one. But I think one of the cool things with my team is that like I have businesses, like it's a business, working a buyer is like, that's business. Like I'm working a listing. It's like a piece of business that I'm working on. And it's like, I share that business, like we collaborate together. And it's kind of cool because now I have 6 sales agents and we're all working on business together. We're working on deals together. We're working on transactions. We're trying to get business from our listings, like we're coming up with strategies to like, get 2 or 3 deals from one transaction. Like, how are we going to do that? What are we going to do? How are we going to create content and market ourselves and market the listing? So we have all these different deals going and like everybody's got their own personality, their own different way of doing business. So I got to let go a little bit. I got to learn when to lead, learn to step away. And I'm not a micromanager. I like to kind of give like, my guidance and like let them kind of do what they want to do because we're all pretty independent and entrepreneurial in this business anyways. But, I usually come in with like a lead or a listing and we work it together. And, mostly they're probably going to do a lot of more of the legwork. I'll probably like swoop in and like close the deal at the end, which is like a talent in itself, I feel like. But, we're all doing it together. We're sharing the proceeds. So I guess getting back to the pitfalls, I would say, really just like learning to like work with everybody because, there's so many different like personalities and just seeing what their strengths and weaknesses are and, just collaborating with them.
Great.
Tell us what you said. I mean, that's great. You just said that you bring in a deal and you share the proceeds and they do the legwork. You're the closer and the rainmaker. But so you're not on the standard, I don't know what standard, but team structures where it's like you got your deal, it's 50-50. I got my deal. They're separate. You share your deals with them as well as them sharing their deals with you.
I mean, it's, I can't share. I have 6 agents. Like I usually just pick one agent that I feel like is the best fit for that particular.
And then you give them a piece of the pie.
And I'll split that. But also my deals are pretty, like my minimum sale is going to be like 500,000 and goes up to like 4 million. So the commissions are like that. They work on that. And then there's a ton of rentals too. And you can make money doing rentals in our business.
Yeah, that's
I think like dipping it out and figuring out who gets what. I think it's more of like an art form. There's not really that much structure to it. It's more based on like a feeling on who I think would like produce the best results.
Cool.
Great. And I'm really just interested because we're interested. We're always interviewing team leaders because we want to know, are we doing it right? Or is this the best? What else can we learn for our team? So how much of that 40% were deals that they brought in? They brought in the buyer.
I would say probably like a half to a third.
And when I say they brought in, that's like they were working the open house. They decided to work with them or it's their friend. Do you count those as the same?
Yeah, I would say maybe a fourth then came from me. Like maybe I'm not actually probably, a good amount comes from me by just like handing them a buyer or putting them on my listing, but they're bringing business in. And that's a first for me. Where, I feel like it's always been, I'll put you on my listing. I'll give you like a percentage and then we'll try to work that listing to get more business, convert directs. In New York City, it's buildings, it's vertical. So it's actually pretty easy it's not pretty easy, but it's, you can market a whole building. Like
farming a building.
There's there's a lot of, I'm a big farmer. So like once I get into a building, I like to really like get into a building. Just listed, in contract, sold, I'll do the quarterly mailers. So I'm really farming that building. I'm like partnering up with like local coffee shops, giving them free coffees. So I try to really ramp up. Like there's probably 5 buildings that I'm really just constantly doing deals in. And like that I'm known as like the man in that building.
That's awesome. That's great. Yeah, listen, it's a good segue over to, you got a question, Christine?
Well, I'm like, we got 12 minutes. Let's hear about his social
Right.
media.
Yeah, well, I do. I mean, that you bring
Usually
up the
I lead with the social media.
I know, but
The real estate is really the bread and butter, and that's how like my social media started. So, all right, let's go back to the history again. So I started this business, first 2 years, like really all rentals. Then I start to build my sales business like year 3. Then year 4, I'm like, all right, now I'm like, I have some sort of business, really just working buyers at that time, not many listings. And social media was like kind of just coming on. So I hired a social media manager, and she was an influencer. She had like 100,000 followers, but she was really popular in the makeup and beauty space. So she didn't really get real estate. So I feel like I learned a ton from her, but I don't know if it was like the most authentic coming from her. Like the posts were like very like wordy, and she was like honestly probably a little bit girly. And so we worked together for a year, and like I felt like it was pretty good brand building. But I then met this one social media manager that was an influencer, and she worked for marketing agency that does marketing for new developments. So then she took over my social media. And that's also at the same time when Instagram started doing their stories. Then I also started to get some listings. This is my 4th year in real estate. And I sold probably about, I don't know, $7 or $8 million in real estate. And just to kind of like give you an example of like how I sold the real estate is like these Instagram stories are such a great way to connect with your followers, your sphere of influence. So it's like every time I sell an apartment, like I'm usually connecting them with on social media, my friends, my family. Like I'm always trying to get people to follow me on social media so they can like see what I'm doing. Like the way that I feel social media, it's kind of like your newsletter and your website wrapped in one. People are going to your Instagram before they're going to your website. And, I'm big on the newsletters. I do that once a month, but I'm posting multiple times a day. So I'm really constantly like top of mind. And so I did an Instagram story about like first time buying, like what are the benefits. And so I met this girl like a couple years ago when I first joined real estate at some sort of event. We friended each other. We never talked on the phone, didn't have her email. But when she saw my story, she sent me a DM and said, hey, I'm thinking about buying. I hopped on the phone with her and I sold her like a $3 million apartment. So I was like, wow, this is a great way to like connect with people that I like that are kind of like separation of like 2 or 3 degrees. Then I started to really like even like kind of like put more time and effort into my social, and I sold another apartment through like a digital ad that I like boosted. And I was like, you know what? That was my aha moment. I'm like, every agent should be marketing and branding themselves on social media. So I started Very Social. We are a social media agency that manages social media accounts for brands and entrepreneurs with really a focus on real estate agents. Right now, we have 70 clients. 60 of them are real estate agents all over the country. And so what we do for these agents is we manage their social media. We'll do all the posting for them. We'll create the Instagram stories. We'll help grow their followers. And like one of the benefits really that I felt like is like I'm a broker, like I'm busy, like I'm transacting, I'm talking to my clients, like I'm running comps, I'm running around most of the time. Like to really do the social media and make it look good takes a lot of time and energy, and I just didn't have the time, nor did I have the skill set at all. Like I know how I want my brand to like look and feel, but I can't do that. So that's why I had my social media managers doing that. So like what Very Social does is it really like it saves our clients time and it just elevates their social, because we have people that are experts in like real estate and design and copywriting. Like there's probably like 3 or 4 people that are like touching the content before it goes out. So there's like no mistakes. And we really make a big effort to make it seem like authentic, and it's growing. I mean, our clients they're staying with us, they're getting business. I think to have really good social media, there's 3 points to it. I think you need to stand out. I think you need to have good content that's going to separate you from the rest. Like if you're just posting like the normal, like, just sold, just listed,
right,
like market reports, like you're going to bore people. I think it needs to be like almost 70-30 lifestyle real estate, because that's how people connect with you. They connect with you based on like their hobbies, their interests, their goals. So We really work to with our clients to help them create content that's going to engage with their followers and get them more business. And then I think you need to be consistent with it. You can't post for a week and then stop for a week. It needs to be consistent, and it needs to be it needs to something that you have a strategy, and really just it needs to resonate with your followers, and it needs to keep on growing and getting bigger and better, so you have more influence.
Awesome.
That's
so
great.
if you look at the agents that we're talking to, with the Abundant Life podcast, we're looking at team leaders, brokers, small brokerage owners, people that have an entire team. Do you have packages where you post for the agents? Or are you always going for the brokerage? Are you always going for sales? Or do you have social media for recruiting? How varied is
we can do social media for anyone, but I think really our sweet spot is probably agents or teams that are doing 200,000 GCI to probably $1.5 million. Anybody who's doing over that definitely has somebody doing social media in-house.
Hey, you just said you did Tristan's.
Tristan's, Lab Coats, Jeff.
He's way over 1.5, my friend.
Yeah, but he's got multiple pages, and he's got a lot going on. But he's super busy. He's actually really easy to work with.
Yeah, he's fabulous.
But yeah, I think a big question a lot of team leaders have is do I do the personal and do I do the team? And so, what I was saying before is that I think your personality really needs to come out and shine. Otherwise it gets pretty boring. Yeah. So, I would definitely stick and just do your personal page. Mm-hmm. And then, maybe have a team page for more of a professional kind of look and feel, and then you can kind of go back and forth as far as reposting from your team page, reposting from your personal. But if you're not on social media, I feel like you're missing out, and you're going to lose out to agents that are, because that's the future. Video marketing is the future. I know I do a lot of listing videos, and whenever somebody comes sees an apartment that just saw one of my videos, there's instant rapport. There's respect. They kind of know who I am. And so have that on social media, on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube. You really get on people's radars. And not only am I posting, but I'm also then advertising it out. And I'm advertising, with certain demographics and keywords in mind. So when I have a new listing, when I have it just sold, it's just a constant. It's not something I just it's a one and done. It's something that you kind of have to keep on pushing the wheel to get the most out of it.
Awesome.
That's great. You're speaking our language. I mean, that's really what we coach our agents on every day is we do 80-20. We're always thinking 80% personal, 20% business, just, Facebook Lives for the open house, and then puppy pictures and pictures about the Seahawks.
They can't go wrong with puppy pictures.
Can't go wrong with puppy pictures, right?
And babies. My 2-year-old's on my IG all the time.
All the time. My kids, I have teens, same deal.
If I rent a kid for IG, is that good or no good?
You got puppies.
Find a niece or something like that with a kid.
There you go. I got a really cute niece. Yeah,
Right. That's excellent. Yeah, so I think that's it's true, and I think you should say the thing about video again, because Christine can't hear it often enough. It's if you go to our YouTube channel, it's only me, because I'm the only one on the team that I can get to actually make videos, because everyone else.
Hey! We made videos last night after 2 tequilas. Are those the kind of videos?
Okay, and have you
those are some of the best videos.
Hang on, have you posted them anywhere?
Kimberly did.
Okay, Kimberly, not you.
That's the thing. There's so many steps to the social media, making the video, posting it, writing the copy, the hashtags, editing it.
I have 7 free minutes this week. Is that what
Very Social does all that for you? Pretty much, I'm giving you a social media manager that's gonna.
It's awesome.
That work with you on a day-to-day basis to elevate your social, to have a strategy in place, to make it look good.
Will they say, Christine, go make a video that says this, and this, and then send it to me?
Yeah, so we actually do that. We do, because we're so big into Reels and IGTV, and we're seeing that is the most effective for really.
Yeah.
We're all about creating conversations on social media, and video is probably the best way to do that. And so we'll put a storyboard together for you. We'll give you a couple different topics. So if you want to do like a hot take, or like a video tour, or interviewing like a local coffee shop owner. But we'll give you a script, like not a real script, but it's more like kind of like an outline.
Yeah.
And then you'll shoot it, because we can't be there. We can source a videographer if you want to do something professional for you though. And then you can get it back to us. We'll edit it for you. We'll send it to you for final approval. You're like, all right, great. And then we'll post it for you, write the copy, do the hashtags. We're busy real estate agents. Social media is a whole nother game. Like, stick to real estate and let the professionals the millennials who like know the social side out, like do it. Because if you're spending time, doing all the details to really make your social, like you're missing out on your business.
That's right.
It's great. I mean, that's
you got to delegate, you got to outsource so you can do what you're good at.
That's right. Leverage. All right. Well, all of our listeners are going to want to know, what do your packages range from?
They range from $1,000 to $2,000 per month. And so what we'll do is we'll do all the posting for you. It really, I think, differs based on how many times we post from you. So the Get Seen package is $1,000, and that's 12 in-feed posts per month, 12 Instagram stories, 12 hours of manual engagement where we go from on your account to certain hashtags, geotags, and like popular pages that fit your criteria. And we engage on your behalf, which grows your followers organically. And then I also have like this network of these 70 clients. So we'll have them comment on your
you get everybody playing together
on your post. So you'll get like minimum starting at 20 comments per post. So it's like some people don't really want to comment if there's no comments or there's one comment. But once there's 20, it can go to 30 or 35 really quickly. So we use our network to all engage to show that, you're getting more action, because real estate agents are vain. And then the Get Attention package, that's 16 in-feed posts, 16 stories, 16 hours of manual growth, and 30 comments. And for the Get Attention package, which is $2,000, it's 20, 20, and 20, and then 40 comments.
Awesome.
Nice.
Ryan, I really do think that's, it's so right there with the letting go part when you were building your team, having a team leader go, okay, I'm not going to do this. I need someone to help me with this. The same thing with building a team. Letting go is such a big deal. So we really appreciate
and your brand is very delicate. So some agents, like, they have a hard time of like kind of just like letting it go. But if you really let it go, like brokerages don't have anyone that's going to do the work for you. Like, we're actually going to do the work for you. And you just have to say yes or no, or say, change the wording here. Or like, we actually do it for you. And, we have the skill set to really elevate what you're doing. So you just have to like communicate with us. It's a collaboration, and, we're going to make your social look better. We're going to write really good copy. We're going to grow your followers, and we're going to be there along the way to help you create strategy so you could like get business. Like, we don't want to just like smooth sail. Like, we want to, take your social to another level. That's going to be part of your brand. Like, it should be like 101, like on what you're doing. Like, this should probably be like the most important marketing strategy that you have going on right now.
It's great. I mean, there's a whole Bulletproof Your Business seminar that we put together, and it's so much everything that you're saying. I doubled my GCI over the pandemic because prior to that, I had all that kind of social media, my past clients and touching them and that whole work, because look, Redfin and Zillow and everyone else, Open Door, they're all coming for our business. They're just coming. And unless you can build a wall like that, and Zillow's never going to be able to touch your social media, your connection.
It's all yours, but to really do it good and to have the time to do it good, like, you should have a professional doing it.
I totally agree.
We get social media, like, we're doing this for 60 agents. We're a Compass approved vendor. I'd love to be an EXP approved vendor where they can, just pay for it right out of their marketing budget. But we're here to help. Like, we're here to collaborate with you guys to grow your brand so you can sell more homes.
That's
great.
Awesome.
I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Ryan, Christine, anything else for you?
Well, no, but we'll talk offline. I will talk about what to do to get you into EXP. We've got some pretty heavy hitters on our crew.
Yeah, yes, right. I love it. And I guess the one thing, maybe you guys could put it in the chat or something, like, people should follow me, because I think it really
We'll add it to the show notes. Where should they?
If you can see what I'm doing out there, like I do these bagel reviews all around New York City. Like bagels are like iconic with New York. And so I go around to all the different bagel shops. I give a review every time there's a new season, fall, summer, winter. Like I'm doing a fashion, I'm working with the stylist and we're like going to different clothing stores. I'm always.
Where do they follow you? Where do they follow you? Tell us.
Ryan G Sells NYC SELLS on Instagram, and then I'm really trying to build my YouTube channel. That I think is that's like the major leagues. And you could just type my name in, Ryan Garson. I'm doing a lot of really cool stuff on there. I'm on TikTok, Ryan G Sells NYC. LinkedIn. I mean, it's crazy. There's like 8 platforms that you could be in. I have an agency, so I have a lot of people helping me on all these different platforms. But I think, you have to kind of go which platform really where you feel like you can get the most, like where you can feel that you can connect the most with like your audience. And then like, really putting a strategy in place. Like every week I'm like, what's my plan? How am I going to create the content? How am I going to get it out there? Like, it's the same thing as like, how am I going to sell this house? Like, what kind of content am I going to create? Like, It's in that real estate DNA of mine.
That's awesome.
Love it.
Ryan, really, thank you for the time. We really appreciate it. I think it makes a huge difference for team leaders and broker owners to both hear, your startup story and how you started growing a team out of the pandemic and now with 10 agents and that world of how you, work with them to this opportunity that they have to actually work with a real live realtor.
It's a great time it's a great time to be in real estate right now. We're like superstars. Like that's why social media, I think, for real estate agents is so interesting because we're advocates for the community, for our clients. People are dependent on us. Like real estate is probably the hottest commodity there is right now. And, listen, I'm the biggest fan of $1 Million Listings. What I try to do with my social media is create my own reality show. And my friends and my family is like, they're into it. I make it entertaining.
Awesome.
That's why 70% of it is like lifestyle. But I sprinkle in the real estate, which is really the key stuff. Like, I don't want to bore them with the real estate stuff. I excite them with like me and what I'm doing. But like I'm throwing in the market reports, I'm throwing in my just sold, like I'm telling stories of how I sold an apartment, how I won a bidding war. That's part of like who I am. Everyone, like being a realtor is like your 101 DNA, but I make it exciting. I create my own reality show and I share with everybody on social media and it's part of my brand.
Love it.
We're going to go check you out. And then when we edit this and when we put it live, we'll make sure that we have all the ways they could follow you all inside of the comments. So
Definitely.
Awesome. Thank you for your time.
Ryan, if I get a couple minutes when I'm in New York in September, I'm going to.
For sure. Listen, I need to make a trip out to Seattle. I'll come see you guys.
And by the way, Aaron used to run a bagel shop. Come on.
I used to run it. So Utah bagels, you can't because from New York.
You could go for hours on that stuff.
When you come to New York, we'll have a bagel together.
Well, the bagels together.
The bullshit that passes for bagels anywhere but New York is just shocking. They steam that shit. They steam it. It's like,
well, you guys got good coffee, so
we do have good coffee. No kidding.
We have a lot of good things. You guys will have a bagel. We could have
a bagel and pizza, and you can
and a bourbon. A bagel, a bourbon.
All right.
We're gonna spend a whole day together. It sounds like
that is a whole day. All right. All right, my friend.
All right.
It was awesome being with you.
Okay, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye.
Welcome to Agency for Agents, a podcast for real estate team leaders and independent brokerage owners looking to maximize profits, effectiveness, and gain freedom for their team and business. Your hosts, Christine Andreasen and Aaron Hendon, have been running one of the most successful real estate teams in the Seattle area for more than 8 years. They know building a winning team means finding ways to empower, nurture, train, and develop individual agents to discover their own power, their own agency. On the podcast, Christine and Aaron interview thought leaders in real estate and personal growth to help you impact both your performance and your teams. We know it takes a lot, and leaders and brokers that crack that code reap the rewards of success greater than any they could ever achieve on their own.